Welcome back. Let's now have a look at some of the business news. The government has announced plans to connect at least 800,000 people to the national grid every year for the next 5 years. According to the Energy and Petroleum Principal Secretary Engineer Joseph Njoroge, this is part of the government's plan to increase the country's electricity access rate to 74% of the country's population from the current 32% by the year 2017. Njoroge has said the government is awaiting the approval of a concessional loan of 73 billion shillings to finance the mega electrification program.
Once we get that long-term concessional loan, we would want to be seeing a connection of 500,000 consumers every year. And once we do that, we should be able to see ourselves increasing our access rate from the current 32% to about 75% in the next 4 to 5 years. So it's a project that means a lot for the empowerment of Kenyans. It's a project that will see a lot of small industries coming up to style up people's lives, to make a very big leap in terms of access to electricity.
Well, let's move into the world of technology, where we meet Susan Ugoya, a co-founder and chief operating officer of M-Farm, a tech startup that provides a virtual marketplace and real-time market information for small-scale farmers in Kenya. It has grown from 20 to 15,000 farmers in 3 years and has helped address two major challenges faced by farmers all over the continent. One, getting access to markets, and two, earning fair prices for their produce.
34-year-old Brian Gishuru was an accountant in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, until 10 years ago when he recognized the growth potential of agriculture in a world where food prices are likely to keep going up as populations grow and migrate to cities. He's been leasing this plot of land near the agricultural town of Molo, some 200 kilometers northeast of Nairobi, since 2004. Last year, he joined an initiative called M-Farm, a virtual marketplace and provider of real-time market information set up in Nairobi in 2010.
We used to grow crops, and at the end of the day, we are not able to get them to the buyers. And M-Farm has come to fill that gap. They've been able to open for us markets, and also they've been able to come in and push for the payments, because that was another big issue we had with our buyers.
Over two-thirds of Africa's adult population have no account at an institution in the formal financial system. In Kenya, 86% of households use mobile phones to make payments and send money, one of the highest rates in the world. Susan Ugoya is co-founder and chief operating officer of M-Farm, which she founded with two other women at the iHub in Nairobi.
We have actually grown from 20 farmers to 15,000 farmers to date. Yes, and we've also seen these 15,000 farmers giving us testimonials on how they've increased their livelihoods, first of all by getting access to better healthcare, getting access to education by taking their kids to school, getting access to reinvesting or investments to reinvest in their lands, getting access to actually viable markets so that they can think of their farms as businesses.
M-Farm connects the farmers with exporting companies who buy their produce wholesale, so participating farms need to be personally vetted by M-Farm to ensure consistent supply. And M-Farm has hired agronomists who can visit farms regularly and be on hand to give technical advice.
The vision for M-Farm is actually to be an eBay of Africa, an eBay that has cassava in it. So being the first African market platform.
On Dickens Kaboka's farm, it's harvest season. The 50-year-old has been a farmer all his life and has leased 5 acres near his hometown Molo to plant garden peas.
Kama ningekuwa mimi ndio rais sahi, ningetaka sana pesa nyingi ya serikali ingie katika kilimo. Kwa sababu Kenya ni nchi nzuri sana kwa upande wa kilimo. Kwa hivyo kama serikali ingeweka pesa nyingi kwa upande wa kilimo, ingekuwa mzuri sana, ndio iweze kuinua wananchi wengi, kwa sababu wananchi wengi wa Kenya wako mashambani.
Africa holds an estimated 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land, but African countries are spending about 3 trillion shillings a year on food imports, and a quarter of the continent's people are malnourished. And if current trends continue, Africa will account for 80% of the world's extreme poor by 2030. The 2014 Africa Progress Report, however, suggests that to compete on a global marketplace, Africa's farmers need better access to regional and global markets and to finance and insurance so that they can grow their businesses.
As Nigeria's economy grows, multinational fast food companies are flocking into the West African country to tap into a lucrative middle class. But the lack of local meat supplies, as well as poor infrastructure and road networks, mean only a select few can afford to eat at the new diners and restaurants. Many people also say they prefer indigenous meat dishes, which are often peppered with local spices and ingredients.
These days, finding an American-style burger in Lagos, Nigeria's bustling commercial city, is not too difficult. Several global food franchises, including the all-American Johnny Rockets, have opened stores in the city, hoping to tap into a growing middle class. But as Managing Director Christopher Naman explains, running a successful food business in Nigeria can be difficult.
The issue is that the ingredients that you need here to make an American hamburger or American pizza or a French sandwich, whatever it is, they're not indigenous to Nigeria. And the issue that you face here as opposed to other countries is there aren't enough people that want that product to justify a big supplier to coming in and really importing and distributing this stuff all over the country.
New franchises like Johnny Rockets have to compete with more popular local delicacies like suya, a type of fried or roasted meat filled with spices and pepper that is quick to make and is found on many street corners in Lagos. A stick of suya costs about 200 naira or 86 shillings. In comparison, a hamburger at Johnny Rockets is sold at a minimum price of 2,300 naira or 1,200 shillings, something many Nigerians simply cannot afford. Despite enthusiasm around Nigeria's growing economy, most of the country's 170 million people still live in poverty. But for those who can pay the somewhat hefty prices, fast food eateries like Johnny Rockets provide access to a more westernized lifestyle, often associated with financial success and security.
I love Johnny Rockets because the cleanliness really downs, and their food is delicious, especially the chicken club sandwich and the Oreo.
The high costs, however, are largely due to the lack of fresh, reliable meat supplies. In Nigeria, most slaughterhouses depend on local herdsmen to source their beef. One of the few commercial companies working in Nigeria is Master Meat, a subsidiary of Zambeef, a Zambian meat supply company. Master Meats started its operations in 2005 with an investment of 430 million shillings. They now employ over 300 staff, with about 30 cows slaughtered and prepared daily. Chairman of Master Meats, John Adeleke, says many of the communities in Nigeria that keep large stocks of cattle do so for cultural reasons, which also affect supply, as they do not invest in the commercial supply of meat.
There are a lot of Fulanis that are not interested in necessarily selling their cows. The ownership of cattle herds is part of the culture, and the idea is not necessarily to be trading all the cattle that they produce. It's an extension. It's like owning a bigger house than the next person. There's also the fact that there aren't many ranches where there's proper breeding and feedlotting and development going on.
While more upmarket areas like Victoria Island in Lagos boast good roads, poor infrastructure and transport networks also compound the cost of doing business. South African retail company ShopRite has, however, partnered with Master Meats as a local supplier, helping to cut down on production costs. Economic analysts like Bolaji Okusaga say Nigeria now needs to focus on improving its infrastructure.
then you would have succeeded in lowering inflation.
Nigeria, Africa's biggest economy, has been growing as an investment destination owing to the size of its consumer market and growing capital markets.
Let's now move into the foreign currency counters now, where the Kenyan shilling slid further against the US dollar during mid-morning trading. Commercial banks have quoted the shilling at 86 shillings and 83 cents buying and 87 shillings and 1 cent selling to the dollar. Traders, however, expect the shilling to firm up in coming days as demand for dollars by importers eases and hard currency inflows from agriculture picks up. The same weakening streak was extended to other hard currencies, where the local unit lost ground to both sterling pound and the euro to exchange at 146 shillings and 70 cents and 120 shillings and 54 cents respectively. On the regional front, the local unit registered mixed trading results against the East African counterparts, losing 3 cents to the Ugandan shilling to trade at 28 shillings and 97 cents buying, and gaining 7 cents to the Tanzanian currency to change hands at 18 shillings and 86 cents buying. Well, and Mike Okenye now joins us for the sports news. What's the latest on Brazil?
What's the difference between Michael and Mike?
You say Mike.
Yes,
it's like Terry Ann and Terry.
So which one do you prefer?
Terry Ann.
Okay, Terry Ann. Brazil security is the biggest concern. Remember a few days ago the fights that were there on the streets?
Yes.
Now they've deployed more police officers on the streets, and I think this will happen all through until the end of the World Cup.
Hopefully some excitement will come in along with that security.
It's already there.
It is?
Only that you're not a football fan.
Oh yeah, then again.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's story on Brazil plus others coming up after a short break.